wait a second, didn't Jesus say to judge not? Oh, indeed he did, but we need to take a look at the entire context of that command. Here it is from Matthew chapter 7. Do not judge so that you will not be judged. For in the way you judge, you will be judged. And by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck that is in your brother's eyes, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, and behold, you got a log in your own eye, you hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. That is the entire context. But when we only read the first two words, we end up becoming anemic regarding judging. Judge not is the battle cry, not just of the world, but also of most evangelical Christians. And yet the context make it so clear, Jesus could not possibly be condemning all judging. In fact, there are 7 reasons we know that he wasn't saying that. Here's number 1. Jesus was making a judgment call when he said, do not judge. That's a judgment statement. You can't make a statement that contradicts your statement unless, of course, the statement that you're making isn't the statement that we think you're actually making. Point number 2. In the same passage, Jesus not only tells us to judge certain people, but he judges some to be dogs and swine just a few verses later. So Jesus said, don't judge people. Those people are dogs and swine. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a judgmental statement. So clearly Jesus could not have been saying you never judge anybody anytime, ever, for any reason. Number 3, Jesus also told us to judge with righteous judgment in John chapter 7. If we're not to judge anything, then Jesus actually contradicted himself. It's clear from John chapter 7 that Matthew chapter 7 is not a prohibition against all judging. It's how we do the judging and on what subjects. Point number 4. Scripture tells us that as saints, we will one day judge the world. Tons of verses instruct us who, what, and how we are to judge. If all judging is bad, well, then we're bad when we judge the world. And wait a second, furthermore, then Jesus would be bad when he comes back to judge the world in righteousness. Point number 5. Jesus was very judgmental when he called some Pharisees, yikes, sons of hell, blind guides, hypocrites, and whitewashed tombs. Point number 6. Never judging is ridiculous. You couldn't order food from a menu if all judging is a sin. And finally, point number 7, verse 2 in the same section tells us that God is going to judge. If all judging is a sin, then God is a sinner. And we know that he's not. What we conclude is that people are taking 2 words out of a bigger context and using it to judge people who judge people.